Hey everybody, Marcus here. It's been a while. With the new updates for the Worlds 2025 F1 kit, I'm going to do a quick little build. I've went ahead and pre-built a lot of the simpler parts, so it's to go through a little faster, so you don't have to look through everything. And as I go on, I'll go through some little tips and tricks that I do when assembling. All right, so let's go. So I always start with the rear end of the car first. It's just my personal preference. It doesn't really matter. So the pod, what's new on this is we have the +2 shock mount, which is right here. And I've also gone with a horizontal mount for the side shocks. This looks cooler. I don't really think it makes a difference as far as performance, but it does allow me to change the angle of the side dampers by putting spacers here. And when you assemble this, you want to use 0.3 shims behind the balls on those two. On the top shock mount, you want to put a 1mm for that ball stud. And now we also go to the button head screws to tighten that down. It gives us a little more clearance between the shock mount and the side damper. Another update that's happened on these cars is that I have changed the design for the actual balls, and it's kind of hard to see by the video, but the profile is different on the sides. You also no longer need to use shims anywhere, so you don't have to use shims here or here or here. You just basically take them out of the bag and then install them with a little bit of blue Loctite, just a drop, not a lot. These will back out if you don't do that. So will this one, and it's kind of a pain to change if you're trying to do it in a hurry. So just put a little drop of Loctite on there just to make sure it doesn't come loose. And then when you're assembling this, you want to put a my favorite has been the 1-Up CV grease, CV oil. That's what I use. And so we'll put a drop. And another note is that on these two screws right here, make sure when you install, you use the 3mm, not the 4. 3mm. If you use a 4, it'll push on the side of the motor plate, and then that will cause problems. So just make sure you use a 3 on these two, and also use another drop of blue Loctite because these two will also back out. Okay, so now once you've got your pod assembled, we're going to go ahead and install the diff, and I'm going to show you how to properly use the alignment tool. So here's our diff, our slipper diff. We're going to install that in here. And actually for now, I think I'm going to loosen it up so that it's already been pre-aligned, but we'll do it again just so you can see the difference. So these are all going to be loose now. Okay, that's all loose. We're going to install your diff. It's important that you only try to use an alignment tool with the diff installed. If you try to do it without the diff installed, it ends up being crooked. You need alignment in there. Okay, so here's our diff. Now, if you're going to align it, don't tighten this up all the way. Let this stay back a little bit, because you don't know exactly where those two axle carriers are going to end up at. So you want to have a little slop right here for right now. We'll tighten that up after we get it aligned. As far as aligning goes, we have the 3D printed alignment tool. You can purchase this off the website, or it's a free file. If you have your own printer, you can just grab the file on X Files on the website, and then you can print out yourself. And you basically slide that in. Okay. Turn it over. Now what I have found is it's best to tighten the top two first for whatever reason, so we're going to do that. Okay, once that's done, you'll notice that the file is a little snug, not too bad, but comes right out of there. And then what you'll see is it'll spin forever, and these aren't even ceramic bearings. These are the kit bearings that are very, very good. All right, so now you go back for your slop adjustment. You want to have about 0.3 on that. You don't want to have it all the way tight. Okay. All right, so now we're good there. Little slop, and that's your rear pod. Now we're gonna go to putting the rear pod into the main chassis. I've already adjusted the FPM, or I've already installed the FPM anyway. FPM is your floating pod mount. This is a sandwich mount that allows you to adjust the tension on the ball. So as it wears, you can always tighten it back up as time goes on. When you first do this, you want to tighten it all the way down and back it out a half a turn on both sides just to start with. This is not your final adjustment. This is just to get it in there and not bind up. So once you do that, take your pod sideways and then drop it down like that, and you're in. All right, and before you start manipulating it too much, you want to take your brace, which is also keeps the pod from turning all the way around. It's like a pod stop, I guess you could say. You want to get that in there. Okay, now, all right, so as you can see, it's very free. There's no side movement on it. It's adjusted perfect. Now, this was already installed, so I didn't go through the steps of getting it perfect, but this is what you want. You don't want any side movement on it, and you want it to be free, just like that. All right, so now that we've got that in like this, the other alignment tool is to align the gap between the pod plate and the chassis. And what this does, that's this piece right here. You see this little 1 millimeter ridge on there? You basically are going to put that in the slot and make sure that it is aligned, just like so. And it actually is. All right. Once you have that right, you'll have an equal gap all the way across. When you do that, you want to snug up the inside ones first, this one and this one first, and then do the outside too. If you don't do it that way, sometimes it'll make the pod gate move. It'll make it crooked. So I found the best way is to tighten that one, and then do the outside too. Okay, now that's installed. We're gonna go ahead and put our wing on right now. Pretty simple on the wing. It's basically just two screws. It's probably, sometimes it's easier. In fact, I would probably go ahead and pre-screw in the holes ahead of time so they're already threaded, so you're not fighting it when it's on the car. This particular car has a composite pod plate on it, but the kit ones will be the aluminum. Once you get that on there, just tighten it up. You can use flat heads for this, or you can use the button heads. The button heads will stick out a smidge, but it's right under the axle, so it's not going to hit the ground or anything like that. All right, now we have that. Now we're going to move on to our side dampers. So the side dampers, these are the new ones. They come with the rainbow collars on there. I think the stock setup, the red springs are good to start off with. You can always go more aggressive later as you tune it. Now, the supplied ball ends tend to be a little bit snug on these. So what you want to do first is snap it on there. If for some reason it's tighter than you want it to be, just take some pliers and just squeeze down on it, and then until it loosens up. And then that's what I had to do this one. And then that's all you gotta do. Put that on, snap those on. All right, so now we got our rear section done. We're gonna move on to the middle. Now the middle part, the new Worlds forged carbon fiber deck is pretty cool looking. You use the standard screws on this. For your shock mount, you're going to use a 1.5 millimeter under that, which is right there, the red. The kit gives you 4 reds and 4 1.0 millimeter spacers, shims. All right. Everything else remains the same as before, nothing different. On the servo, here's what we're doing. This was gone over in the aluminum chassis install video, but since they all come with a chassis now, we're gonna go ahead and kind of combine that into the same video. So when you get your servo, even the AGs give you extra servo arms. The one they give you is this little short one, which works great on the R1. But for the F1, since we've changed the linkage on it, you're gonna want to get the long one, and you're gonna want to cut where I have the black line there, if you can see that. Right, we're doing that because the space between the center and that hole is longer than the short one. So when you're done, you're gonna cut that off, round it off, make it look pretty, and then you're gonna take a 1.5 millimeter drill and drill that hole out. When you do that, the new ball stud kits give you longer ball studs. They're actually longer. So we're gonna use a 1.5 under there, so it looks like that. Okay. Now when you do that, you will install your servo like so, and then you will put your 2 screws in here. I'm not going to do that now because the servo is going to come back out, but you'll put a screw here, M2x3 button head right here and right here. That's the small head ones, and that'll be how your servo is mounted. So we're going to go ahead and stick that on there right now. Okay, there we go. So now we have our servo installed, and then the dual spring center shock that comes with the kit also now. So the only thing you have to do, modification you have to do this is that when they're molded, there's a little bit of a burr right on the plastic under like where you see the white spring. And so you can take either like a 2 millimeter drill and kind of wall it out a little bit just to break the edge on it, or you can take an X-Acto knife and just break that edge on it. But after that, you'll have a super smooth diff. You can mount the shock either way; it doesn't matter. I think you have more body clearance if you do it with the if you do it this way. And I'm using the 1-Up pink for the side dampeners and 1-Up pink for the center. All right, now we're gonna move on to our front linkage. Okay. This is your assembly with the steering links and the new aluminum oil slick coated tie rods. So you're going to measure your distance for your links outside to outside. So I usually set them around 25.1 in that general area. The car likes a lot of toe out. It is what it is. So don't fight trying to make the car look like it's got no toe in it for whatever reason. You know, how it run, the important thing here is how it runs on the track, not how it looks necessarily. Especially when you're chasing tents. The Servo Saver is a TPU printed, 3D printed unit. As you all know, we went through a whole debacle with the Servo Savers, and so I built these, and it's been bulletproof. I've been using them for like almost a year and a half now, and they've been great. So is what it is. Cheap, easy to fix, and that's how you have that. Okay. Another tip that I like to do is the stripes that are on the markings that are on the end links. There's a little stripe right there. I put the stripes on the outside. The reason why I do that, because when you're in there, if you're tuning your car and you want to change your toe, it's a lot easier to know that if you go 1 full revolution in, it's about 1 degree or half a degree per side, I guess you could say. And so it's easier to do that when you have the stripes outside, because you don't have to go one way on one side, one way on the other. It's always going to be counterclockwise to the outside one. So you can do that, or you can just twist the center. I get that, but sometimes it's easier to just hold the center still and move that 1 rotation in or out, and that's going to give you your measurement. That's just a personal thing. Obviously, you can do, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Also for that, the Ackerman adjustment, I would push the servo post all the way towards the rear of the car. Haven't been in a situation where it worked better being forward, so push that all the way back. And what I mean by that is you can slide the post forward or backwards for Ackerman adjustments. And so I found that having it all the way back is just pretty much best all the time. All right, now we got that installed. All right, so the next thing we're gonna bring up is the servo link. Now, as you can see, there's a long one and a short one. Now, on the arm tree, when you get it, there are 4 longs and 2 shorts. The original kit used the 2 shorts for the servo link, but with the new chassis and the servo being moved, we're now using a long and a short. So in the kit, I've supplied some extra ball ends. Like, you only need 1 of them, but I sent at least 4, maybe 6 on almost all kits, just to have extra ones in there. So you definitely want to do that, and that helps the linkage angles. Also, when you do this, you can now set the servo closer to being straight up and down for when it's 0, as you can tell. Now, when it goes to the right, your link is almost level. When it goes to the left, your link is also almost level, and that's pretty much what you want. Okay, and there's no slop. Okay, now we're gonna get to this to the front end. All right, so this piece, this car has already been partially assembled, you know, to save a little time. The kit comes with a 0-1 camber plate. A lot of us are running the 0-0. You know, it's an option depending on how you like your driving style and the track conditions, of course. I would definitely pick up a 0-0 with the kit. That's probably the only part that you have to. You don't have to. That's about the only option part that you could purchase for this car, to be honest with you. That and ceramic bearings. Anyway, so we got 0-1 camber plate, 0.3 shims under all 4. I have tried the HRC on the car, and it just doesn't work for me. I think most of us have gone back to low roll center for the Formula One. It's just better. Anyway, so that's that. For assembly, this is going to, I run my tires really low on the F1. Like, I start at 21.5, so my shim adjustments are for that. So the shim on the bottom is going to be a 0.2. All right, then we're gonna put the new V3 knuckle on. Whenever you get your V3 knuckles, the little bushing's not going to be in there, so it's easier to just press it in there and maybe get some pliers and lightly press them in if you have to make it snug. If there's a burr in there, you might want to trim that burr out. But more than likely, you should be good to go. So I have a 0.2 on the bottom, and then I have a 1 millimeter, which I can't pick up with these gloves. All right. And then we have a 0.2 and a 0.3 shim. All these are included in the kit. Okay. Now, gonna sell your arm. Also, as mentioned in other videos before, the white Delrin balls, there's a little burr on one side or the other. You need to probably take a sharp X-Acto knife and trim the burr out. It makes it a little smoother. You don't have to do that, but it's always nice to have the smoother the front end is on your car, the faster it's going to be, the better it's going to perform. Same with this part here, the perch mount, the Delrin perch mount. Also, there might be a burr on that, so you might want to clean that off. This particular setup, we're going to go with the yellow fronts, which is a little on the stiff side, but the car seems to like it with the wings. It's strange because the original build up, it didn't like the yellows, but this one does. All right, so then that's our stack. All right, get our Tamiya Eclipse tool, golden. Okay, now you don't want to put the arms on the camera plate yet because of these two screws right here. These two screws are going to screw into the chassis now, so if you put the arms on there, you can't get to it, so leave them off for right now. I find it easier sometimes to just go ahead and put the wing on there ahead of time. That way it holds a plate still, so we're going to go ahead and do that. The wing now uses just two 8mm flathead screws, which are included in the kit. MWX body posts are also included. There's a space here if you want to add weight. There's a universal weight kit on the side you can buy to put weight on the nose if you want to put weight on the nose. Haven't had to do that yet, but the option's there if you need to. All right, so this is our front end assembly is done. The new V3 knuckles, new linear front springs. I use Marca pink on the whole car, actually everywhere. I like that for the most part. It's definitely where I start off with. All right, so now we're gonna put the one thing I want to just share with you guys. Sometimes, or there's a little edge right there sometimes, and this one has it. So I take a file and I just get the edge off of there, because that way, if that sits crooked, then it's going to affect your ride height and it's going to drive you crazy. So I always take a little file and kind of just get the edge off of there and make sure it's all nice and flat. Like so. Now it'll be flat. These screws screw directly into the chassis. The chassis is aluminum, so make sure you don't over tighten it. I mean, definitely tighten it, but you can also put a drop of Loctite on there and it won't hurt anything. I have had these back off. Okay, once you get those tight, you've got your center screw. I think I put the wrong screw in there. Yeah, I did. I use a 5mm on that center one. Yeah, a 4 will work fine, but Okay, once you got that set in the car, take your arms, snap them in, and there you have it, folks. You have your 2025 Worlds MWX F1 build. Thanks for watching.